It's Monday, April 9th, and time for your Barbados Today Morning News Update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Frenella Wedderburn. Bold new leadership. That's what Barbados and the Anglican Church badly need to confront the challenges ahead. It's the view of Dean of the Cathedral of St. Michael and All Angels, Reverend Dr. Jeffrey Gibson, who suggested that the island and the church were in the same boat, with both gearing up for important elections. Speaking at the Barbados Labour Party's Founders' Day service, Reverend Gibson says the country and the church are at a crossroad and strong leadership is a must.
For there to be hope, new life and new beginnings for both church and the country, to enable positive movement beyond the crossroads, there must be first and foremost visionary leadership. Visionary leadership which inspires, motivates, and facilitates a search for realistic, relevant, and meaningful solutions to the challenges we collectively face. Visionary leadership is not defined by fancy rhetoric that sounds sweetly to the ears, but which the brains find disappointingly lacking in substance. The proof is always found in results, both at the level of the state and the church. Visionary leadership is required to produce a clearly thought out plan or strategy to take us from where we are now to where we wish to be in the future.
Gibson insisted that it could not be business as usual for either the country or the church.
The changing times in which we live mean we can no longer continue business as usual. If we do so, we are at great risk of continuing to see the same results which are the source of our current disappointment and frustration. We need to be bold. We need to be courageous. We need to be imaginative, innovative, and fearless if we are to open up new frontiers for the continued development of both church and state.
In her address to the congregation, BLP leader Mia Motley said her party was up to the task of delivering the leadership Barbados needs. She, however, made it clear that there must be change if the BLP is to rescue Barbadians.
Change is never easy. It will frighten some, and to them I remember the words that were given to us this morning: stand firm. Change will dislocate some. I say to them, when you are dislocated, we will be here to capture you and catch you and put you on a new path. Change will require discipline. And all of us know that there is nothing in life that comes at any stage without discipline. So together, we shall rise to the occasion. Together, we shall march forward. Our condition that is being left for us is being made worse by the day because people are not prepared to accept their responsibility first to the nation, but put their interests first. But irrespective of what is done, we shall rise to the occasion.
Barbados will have to look beyond its shores for help to implement much-needed public sector reform. That's according to former Central Bank Governor Dr. Delisle Worrell, who maintains that the inefficiency of the public service is inhibiting the growth of key economic sectors. Speaking on the current affairs program, Down to Brass Tacks, Dr. Worrell pointed out that the country has been battling the issue for the past 2 decades with no success, and it was time to seek help.
We have been at this business of public sector reform for 20 years, and we have proved to ourselves that we cannot make it happen. That over those 20 years, the public service has gotten worse. So we need outside assistance. And that is one of the reasons why we need to engage with the International Monetary Fund and other international financial institutions, World Bank, and American Development Bank, and so on, who will give us access to international expertise on how you do public sector restructurings. As I say, it will be accompanied by things like separation packages, retraining, providing I don't want to say psychological, but assistance to people to help them counseling, right? To deal with the transition and so on.
He, however, cautioned the country not to approach international institutions empty-handed.
What we need to do is not to go open-handed to the IMF. We must go to the IMF with a proposal for a structural program which focuses on the reform of the public sector, which is going to be measured in terms of the delivery of services. And that is going to be accompanied by an action plan, which is going to be broken down with quarterly targets for achievement. And what the IMF, this is a standard thing in IMF programs, is that every quarter the IMF sends a team to the country that is in the program. And the team discusses all the targets. This is not something that will be peculiar to Barbados. This is a standard thing for all of IMF programs that have financial assistance.
In other news this Monday, health officials and other stakeholders will be meeting from today for discussions on the changes to the National Drug Formulary. There have been concerns by several sections since the new formulary went into effect on April 1. And Health Minister John Boyce said officials are hoping to iron out those issues during the talks, which are slated for later today.
There are few drugs, especially what they refer to as combination drugs, which have raised some eyebrows in terms of prescriptions issued by doctors or prescriptions being filled by pharmacists. So I want to assure Barbadians that the issues raised and the questions raised in this regard will be dealt with over the next couple of days in discussion with the representatives and, of course, the drug service. And we want to make sure that the best solution exists for Barbados and that we continue to enjoy the kind of health care and the kind of health treatment that we are accustomed to.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In news from our regional neighbors, a British passenger who caused a flight from Gatwick Airport to Mexico to be diverted to Bermuda last week has been fined $1,500. 39-year-old James Rogers had to pay the money before he was allowed to leave the island after he admitted in court to not only being drunk and conducting himself in a disorderly manner, but also smoking on the TUI Airways flight. We get more in this report from Jasmine Patterson of ZBN News.
The court heard Rogers was served alcoholic drinks during the flight, but became increasingly aggressive, demanding more from airline staff. After he was informed they were no longer serving beverages, he claimed he was a professional bare-knuckle boxer and threatened to punch staff members. He then said he would smoke in the toilets. Half an hour later, staff found him in the restroom smelling of cigarettes, but he denied smoking. The captain then decided to divert the plane to Bermuda for Rogers to be removed. When the aircraft landed, police observed he was under the influence of alcohol and placed him under arrest. He refused medical treatment at the airport and then repeatedly dropped to the floor, banging his head, causing abrasions to his face. Following treatment at the hospital, Rogers was taken to a police station for processing. He was fined $500 for each of the 3 offenses and ordered to pay the full $1,500 before leaving the island.
On the international front, Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán has won a 3rd straight term in office. Based on preliminary results, the Prime Minister's anti-immigration campaign message secured a strong majority for his party in Parliament, with 2/3 of the seats. According to reports, the right-wing nationalist Prime Minister projected himself as a savior of the country's Christian culture against Muslim migration into Europe, an image which resonated with millions of voters, especially in rural areas. And on that note, we come to the end of our news update, but there's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals and screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Don't forget, Mix 96.9 FM also has the very latest. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.